see if I can find myself. I accidentally started by using my other phone. Apparently my brain is fried. Let's see. There I am. Okay. Pin to top. Okay, so you should be able to find me at the top of the page now. All right. Good. So good morning, everybody. I'm going to wait a little bit, see if some people can hop on here. Move some of this stuff out of the way. I'll go through, pull out a few of my folders. Wow, nobody has anything to say today. Hi, Yvonne. Good morning. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for sharing. Just pulling out some folders. Wait till you see, I have my folders here on my desktop, so 2 more. Grab my stitched dies because those are always good to use. And let's, oh, there's lots of them here we can use. I think these are all retired. So I will also show you guys how I have my dies separated and my embossing folders. I think most of these are empty now. Forgetting I dumped them. Okay. Scratch gear. Let's see. Move most of these out of the way. Okay. Good morning, rainy Phoenix. I think it's supposed to rain a little bit here later this week as well. So thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you are all doing wonderfully. We have some beautiful sunshine here today in Maryland. It was gorgeous yesterday. It was probably about 65. It's like almost the perfect temperature. You could be outside. Yes, Tina, we do. Sunshine in Maryland. You could be outside. We went and did some bike riding. It was a lovely day. But I'm happy to be back here crafting. I know there's a few things that I didn't finish from last week because I wasn't sure all this excitement was going to happen. So I will attempt to finish the embossing paste projects that we started at some point this week. I'll see if I can do a video. And right, yes, stamping saves sanity, SSS. So instead of SOS, stamping saves sanity. So make sure, let's share that. That's a good hashtag we should start using. It's still dark there. Oh, you must be on the West Coast, I'm imagining. So what I did today was I asked for ideas because you all know I like to do ideas that you guys may want to make or create. So I asked if anybody had any suggestions, and overwhelmingly I heard, and I just remembered I left my list downstairs. Oh well, I'll have to try to remember it. Embossing folders. So I have thought of several ideas, and what I'm going to do while everybody is on here just saying hello, I'm going to quickly write down the ones I remember. A couple other things, because let's see, right here. A couple of these things, I will say, I haven't done, but maybe once or twice. So my first one might not be great, but we'll see. So we'll say ink on folder, ink plus stamp. Okay, emboss. Then I'm going to try and remember these. I have a bunch of them, and if I go downstairs and I realize I forgot one of them, what I'll do is maybe I'll do a separate video. But I've thought of at least 5 different things, aside from just using your embossing folder as an embossing folder, 5 different kind of techniques or styles or whatever you want to call it that you could use for your embossing folder. So, a couple quick things. First off, I do have, I still have 2 people's things to give away from when I did that big prize drawing 2 weeks ago. So I have 2 people's things to mail. So make sure you check the Rachthestamper winner page. There is a page on the blog. So make sure you check that because your name could be on there. We only do 2 weeks, so this is coming on the 2nd week. So I will mail the rest of them out. I have 2 people I know I have their email. So those 2 people I think emailed me last week. Fran is one and there's another one. There's 2 people that I have. If you don't see a date next to your name, it means you didn't send me your stuff. So I'm going to, sometime this week, draw for some tipsies. I also have some stamp sets to give away. So I have Sending You Thoughts. It's a celebration. I have a lovely lily pad. I have, actually, 2 Sending You Thoughts. So 2 of these could be free. I have some note cards. I have some ribbon, some embellishments. Thanks, Wendy. That's so nice of you. I have lots of stuff to give away, so I will tell you that before I package everything, just to be on the safe side so everybody doesn't have to worry, I will wash my hands before I package everything up. After that, make sure once you open it, you wash your hands before you get into it, because you know it's got to go through the mail and all that stuff. Hopefully all that stuff will still connect. I will still be sending out all my thank you cards, and I'm trying to work on somehow figuring out a class to go. So something that we can do where either you order the stamp set, or maybe you already own the stamp set, or you can even use a different stamp set. So I'm kind of working on that because I know I had to cancel my class for Friday. So I'm trying to figure out maybe what other options there are to do. So in the meantime, one other thing, and I'm still waiting for it to come in, but I did, don't lick the envelopes. That's a good idea. I don't lick them though because they're all packages. They have those self-sticky seals. But that's smart for your envelopes, Donna. Very smart. I think you could either use one of those little, like a dauber. Ooh, you could use a sponge dauber. Sponge daubers, new use to seal your envelopes with. Or you could use like a damp paper towel. But that is a very smart idea. I would not have even thought of that. So thanks for sharing, Donna. That is a great tip. I do have the Ladybug bundle that I still want to give away, but I'm just trying to figure out, oh, or an aqua painter. I'm just trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to give it away that I feel like it will be fair, because it is the dies and the bundle. So I did have, basically what happens is when you all order with the host code, at the end of the host code, what I do is anyone who has ordered with it, I order stuff to give away with. That's pretty much the point of you all using the host code. So this time I got such a great response from the host code that I got the stamp set for free. So I just went ahead and ordered the dies. So I bought the dies, but the stamp set was like a bonus to go along with it. And as a matter of fact, Tina, your name was on that prize list last week. I just thought about it, and you didn't send me your address yet. So I want to give it away fairly, but I want to do like something that's fun. So I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to work that feels like it's fair to everybody, that everybody gets an entrance. So what we might have to do is, I might have to do like one special Facebook Live where we chat and just people leave comments, and then I'll pick it from that. So yes, you, Tina, you won. I drew your name a couple weeks ago on something. I don't remember what it was. It was a random, I was being nice and trying to make people smile day. That's what it was. So check the blog, everybody who's watching today, because you never know, your name could be on there and you don't know. So I'm going to flip you down. Now I'm going to tell you one thing. When I flip you down, there's going to be a huge pile of things on my desk. So I just want to show you a couple things before we get started. So I'm going to turn you around. And, all right. Look away if you get a little motion sick. Good morning, Martha from Colorado. Hi, Nancy. Okay, so we're all settled. So you may be able to see Debbie Allen, Fame. She came back again. Fame, I'm gonna live forever. Oh, Lord. Where's all my people telling me I need to stop singing? Because I should oblige. Okay, so what I want to show you is, this is something that I got. And I know it's kind of hard to see because it's kind of big. It's not really that big, but I got this from, you can see that it's flat. This is from Stampin' Storage. And then it has this... Hold on, let me see if I can turn this sideways. Oh, without causing a craftastrophe. It has this kind of beveled edge. So this is a wood box that I got from Stampin' Storage. I do have a code if you would like to get something from them, a website, let me know, I can send it to you. But what I do is I keep all of my dies and folders in this together. Now I have a lot, as you can see, this is a lot of stuff, and I did take some of the folders out. But what I have done is I actually pulled out all of my thinlets, framelets, whatever lits you want to call them. So these are all empty. So really these could come out. And then I have in the back things that are retired. So I have the sequins, the dies that are retired, anything that's retired, I kind of put in the back. So I have all my dies back here. Remember this one with the Outside Adventures? I know everybody is looking for this framelets. All of these, I kind of put them in the back once they've retired. And then I have a spot here. I'm going to turn this sideways again so you can kind of see. I have a spot here then where I have something that I know is retired, which is the Fiesta folder. So that kind of is my marker of retired versus not. And then I have the dies, which obviously there used to be many more in front of here. But I have the dies that either don't fit into a stamp set. Oh, this one's retired too, since it's Halloween. And, or if maybe I don't necessarily have I don't have the stamp set that goes with this, so I have this die in here as well. And then I'll put the folders, same with this one, I only bought the die, I never bought the stamp set. I put the folders in the front. And then in the very front, I actually keep my most used dies. So I have my stitch shapes, circles, rectangles, ovals, squares, stars, and then I kind of just go back from there. So what I did is I pulled these out. That way I could show you some things that maybe you could use. I'm pretty sure most of these are still current. This is the, I don't know if this one is now that I think about it. This is the quilting one. I should write the names of these on here, the quilting ones. And I try to also keep them separated. So these are regular folders versus the 3D. I kind of keep them together. So this is the peacock. We have the 3D corrugated, the tin tile, Power of Hope. We have the wood plank. So I'm going to use a couple of these. Here's the art. It starts with art, whatever this one's called, buttons. I can't remember. Had the leaves, the flowers. This one, I always call this one the constellation, but there's lots of things you can do with embossing folders. And one I want to show you specifically, I'm going to show you something with this where you can actually ink it and stamp on it. So I'm going to try my best to do this correctly because some reason I do it backwards. And then there's just other things you can do with them in general. So I'm going to pick a couple. Let's see. I want to pick something that's not too obvious. So I'm going to do one with this. With this one, we'll do a spotlight highlighting technique. With the tin tile, because that's a pretty good one, I'll do something with that with Versamark. So I'm going to put these things together so I know exactly what I want to do. So that one I'm going to use Versamark. This one, I'm going to grab just any stamp set. I'm going to pick the one that coordinates. Timeless Tropical we'll do with this. This will make sense once we get started. This one we're going to do with Seaside Spray and then some other type of a stamp set. By the way, there's something else I wanted to show you too. Just got remembered. So you remember we made a really nice card with this a few weeks ago. And I was just kind of playing around, stamping off. This, which is this cloud, and this little thing, does make a really nice flower. Even though that's probably not what it's intended for because this is supposed to be a cloud, but it really makes kind of a nice flower stem and a leaf. So there's just a different use there. If you're looking for a really pretty abstract flower, it uses the cloud and then the little cluster. So I pulled that out because I wanted to show you because it was sitting on my desk and I thought it was a neat idea. This one I think I'm going to do with the spotlighting technique. Let's see. I'm going to try that one with this too. I'm going to do something soft with that. Maybe we'll go with the leaves with this one. All right. So I think I have a few ideas. So first of all, we'll go between, this is a regular folder and a 3D folder. So there is a difference, and I'm going to put my notes up here so hopefully I can remember what it is I'm talking about. So first of all, when you're using an embossing folder, I have my paper here. Let me move this over. Okay, so when you're using an embossing folder, number one, there's a couple different ways that you're going to fool with it. I say fool with it like it's crazy. I'm going to do 4 inches, and I'm just going to do a few pieces of just 3-inch strips just so we can kind of get like a sample. So you can, and then we'll use whatever this last piece is. I'm going to grab my folder, and for this one I'm going to use, so you do need 2 different things. So that's what other thing I want to show you. By the way, I'm hoping to increase my videos. However, I am also now the homeschool teacher. So I'm going to have to see where I can fit it in. But FYI, I'm going to do my best to try to do some additional videos. So when you have your Big Shot platform, you have your regular platform. If you have a thicker folder, which is a 3D folder, if you are so lucky to have this already, the blue plate works with this folder if it's a new Stampin' Up, not a Sizzix. Okay, so let me grab one of those just to show you the difference. Okay, for example, this one still says Sizzix. This one is a Stampin' Up 3D folder. Okay, so there is a little bit of a size difference. It's probably a little difficult to see here, but one is significantly thicker than the other one. Okay, so if you're using a Stampin' Up, so it doesn't say Sizzix on it anywhere, you want to use the blue plate. If you're using the Sizzix folder, you still want to use your 2 plates. Okay, but otherwise, if you do it the other way, it doesn't go through. 2 plates, maybe it's 1 plate. No, it's just 1 plate. You want to use 1 plate. If you're using the Stampin' Up, you want to use the 1 blue plate. Okay, so that's one of the main differences. The other thing is, if you're using a regular thin embossing folder, you want to use 2 plates. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. So sorry. But you might also have to bring in your thin die adapter plate. It's technical. Could be, could not be. So to do this one to start, I'm going to show you something simple. Now, there's a flatter surface and then there is a raised surface. So this is going to put in the dent. So this would deboss, emboss. So you remember you can use 2 different sides. So that's one other thing you can do. So I'm going to do this with just blueberry bushel. And I'm going to do this on just directly, whoops, directly ink it onto my folder. So this is one thing you can do. So I'm going to put this in, smush it down, and I feel like we might need our little extra thing, but I'm going to see how it works with this. Nope, we're good. Well, Rainbow Stamper has already digressed into something else he wasn't supposed to be doing, so. Okay, so when you open this up, you're going to see that you're going to have the ink, but there's no ink on the portions that were pushed up from the bottom. So you're going to have this reverse pattern, okay? So that's one way you can do it. So that is inking the part with either Stampin' Up or Sizzix on the top, okay? Now, let me show you one other thing. You can also do this a second way. And when you do this, either rinse it in the sink, use a wet wipe. Since I'm not going to be running back and forth to the sink, I'm just kind of doing it halfway. So don't do what I do. Make sure you actually clean yours off. So now I'm going to show you if you do it the other way. So we're going to take our same ink pad, blueberry bushel, and this time we're going to ink this side. Okay. I'm going to put it, again, you're going to kind of want to make sure you put it where you want it. Oops. And then close it and hold it. So, again, I'm going to put my top plate on. So this is a regular embossing folder, not 3D. So just crank it through. And I will tell you one thing. I do tend to use my kind of botched up acrylic plates. I don't usually use my nice clean ones because it's kind of getting pushed through anyway. So this time you're going to see, now you're going to have blue. So again, We kind of had to flip it over. So this is just the residual that I didn't clean off very well. But you'll have the blue actually etched from the part that's sticking up, the raised portion in. So then you have two different things. So if you look at that, that's two different ways. You can just use that for your background. Okay, so that's one. So I'm going to see if I can just a little bit better wipe this off since I have these handy. So I'm just kind of wiping them with my chamois and then wiping them off with a towel. So ink does not ruin them. You can clean them off, rinse them in the sink. Just make sure, I would say to rinse them in the sink, quite honestly, because it kind of gets the ink off a little bit better. Okay, so that is number one thing. One other thing, you want to be careful, and I should have mentioned this because I've done this a few times myself. This puts a lot of pressure when I just put it in sideways like that. You don't want to do that. You want to put it in, so you put the corner going in, because my folder here is cracked because I've put it in sideways too many times. So make sure you put it in so you have the fold feeding into your plate. Okay, so don't do what I do. Do what I recommend you not to do. I mean, do what I say, not what I do. That's what I should say. So there's one way. So you have two different things there. Now, another thing you could do, and now we're going to move off of these plates. And what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to just take this right before I do it. I'm going to go ahead and crank this on. So I have my heat. I'll try to move it away a little bit. I have my heat tool on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my, and I'm not going to use this one. This one was just out. I'm going to use my embossing buddy. Just kind of lightly tap over my paper just to cut down on the static. You can do this afterward as well. No. You can do this afterward as well. I'm going to put this in with my tin tile folder. And because I want this to stick up, I'm going to actually put it in this way. So this is the part I rubbed with the embossing folder, so I'm going to put it face down. I'm not really putting it anywhere specific, but I want it to be so it's kind of stick up, okay? So I'm going to put this in here, grab my blue plate, so I have the fold going in. Oh, that's the wrong one. You know why? That's why. No, this is the right one. This does take an extra bit of cranking to get through. This one will feel like you're doing something you're not supposed to. This, not on the right one. Hold on here. Oh, no wonder. This is a Sizzix one. I was just thinking, why won't this go through? That's why. So, because this still says Sizzix, you want to use your white plate. I wasn't going to force it because Lord knows I don't want to break my big shot right now. Okay. So then, you have this piece that has sticking up, okay? So either side is you can use. You got to remember that too. You can use either side. I want to show you one thing, so I'm going to move this over for a minute. So I'm going to hit this one more time. I'm just kind of trying to cut down on the static. I'm going to hit this one more time with my embossing buddy. My embossing buddy is newer, so it's not as dusty as when you've had them for a while. Okay, so then grab a scrap. I'm going to take my Versamark pad, and just to make it so it's something kind of interesting, I'm going to use, these are retired, but I'm going to use them just to be able to show you something that's bright. So we'll say I'm going to go with the blue. Now, if you don't have this blueberry bushel embossing powder, what you can do is you can use your blueberry bushel ink with clear embossing powder. Okay, so that's an easy way to do it. And let me grab one more thing. Just grab my coffee filter. So you're going to take your pad and just kind of drag it across the top. You don't really want to press down into it hard. You just kind of want to go as straight across as you can. All right, that's good enough. Then I'm going to take my powder and just sprinkle it on. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to set this on the side while I clean this up. So you can pretty much make any ink into an embossing powder color, even if we don't have it, because all you're going to do is you're going to use clear embossing powder along with Versamark. I'm just going to fold this in half, and then I'm going to bring this over. I want to grab one other little thing. I'm going to grab my reverse tweezers just to hold this in place. And then this shouldn't take too much effort because this has been heating. And just heat this. Now granted, you might not get the exact same effect every time, but that is also what makes it different. And you do want to make sure that you heat this thoroughly until it is shiny, because if the embossing powder isn't shiny, it's not heat set. And eventually when the Versamark loses its sticky, it will be able to be brushed away. So heat it until it's set. So now that's not 100%, but that's good enough for now to make you guys soft. So that's another thing you can do. So that's just with either Versamark and a colored powder, or if you were going to do it the other way, what you could do first is Versamark it, then do your blueberry or whatever color ink you want on top of it, and then sprinkle your clear powder right away and then just dust it off. But it is a really good idea to make sure you use your embossing buddy for that, because it's going to cut down on it getting in the grid. But that kind of is a neat look, another thing that you can do with it. So you can emboss onto it, onto your heated image. Okay, go find what it was you were doing, please. Lordy be. All right, so there is another technique there. All right, so let's see, what did I hit here? So I got ink on the folder, embossing, and then Versamarking. I do still have one other thing, actually two other things. So I'm going to move this once I'm finished. Then put this back just so I don't have as many things out here. Hopefully I won't make a humongous mess. So I'm just going to lay this one here since that's all together. And I think this coffee filter has seen it stay because the embossing powder will not clear off of it now. Okay, so this is another one that's kind of a simple thing to do. So in case you guys missed that too, I have gone to putting just the little, either a magnet sheet. You can get the ones at Home Depot if you might have them from Amazon. And uniquely enough, this is a crazy thing that my friend Gwen shared with me that she does. So if you may have some sort of a company that you don't deal with anymore, and you know they all give you magnets for everything, just put some adhesive on the back. You can put this in here, put some adhesive, stick it in, and then you can reuse all those magnets that you might not use anymore, because the dies do stick to these really well. So that's another tip. You might have some free magnets at home that you just didn't realize. Whoops, lost that one. So quick tip there for you. So now the other thing we're going to do is I'm going to take just a scrap piece here. And how about we do the palm trees? Because I think that'll be a pretty fun one to do. So we'll do the palm trees. Grab a block. This one big enough? Almost. All right. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a multiple kind of a marker technique. So I'm going to do soft suede. And as a matter of fact, just to make this a little stickier longer, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it ahead of time with the Versamark. That way it won't dry quite as quickly. So I'm just going to Versamark it a little bit before. Then I'm going to pick, let's see, if we do Granny Apple, and then maybe a little bit of, I think this is Garden Green. So I have Soft Suede, and I'm going to bring in Early Espresso. So I'm just going to do 4 colors just for the heck of it. So I'm going to fill in my trunks. Then I'm going to go back, add just a couple little spots of espresso. Now I'm going to go in with my Granny Apple and kind of color in my palms. You could also do this with a stamp, an ink pad I should say, and then kind of go in and add in some color with your marker. So this is Garden Green. God bless him. He is in there playing with a toy he hasn't played with in probably 3 years. So I'm going to huff to exhale on this. Now, one other thing you could do with this that I've seen people do. So that turned out pretty cool. And then if you wanted to, you could even go back when this is dry. You could do this one of 2 ways. You could take your all these things you should have. So if you can, use what you have. I'm sure you have plenty of stuff that you haven't used yet. Take your blender pen. You could if you wanted to and kind of blend the color a little bit. Fill in the color there. If it's not quite dark enough, you could even go back in with your marker. You just fill in a little bit of color around there. You could even take your marker and your blender pen, and if you're trying to get a little lighter, just dip a little color off of there and color it in. Maybe add a little base down here to the bottom. Add in a little something down there. Kind of looks like they're on an island. Wipe this off. I'm going to kind of smudge this in just a little bit. And I'm going to do one more thing just to kind of make it have a more authentic feel, since I'm going to leave this as whole. Originally I was going to cut it out, but that's another thing you could do as well. But I'm going to leave this as whole. I'm just going to grab a little bit of, hopefully this is clean, a little bit of pineapple punch. There. And then a little bit of Sahara sand. Just a teeny bit. Okay, so we have that. So we kind of just fiddled around, added a little bit. You could absolutely add some blue sky in the background if you wanted to, but just so you kind of get the drift. Now what we're going to do, let me move this over. Bring this back up. We have our regular platform. Use that one. So again, this is the Stampin' Up one, so it's not Sizzix, so you want to use the blue folder for this one. That's probably the hardest thing. And you know what you could do? You could even put a little sticker on here and you could write for 3D embossing folders without Sizzix. That way you know what you're going to use for what, because you don't want to use this to die cut. You only want to use this for embossing folders. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put it in. And again, you're just going to decide, do you want it to have the indent or do you want it to stick up? So either way is fine. I'm just going to pop this in either way for me for now. And just put it in there, kind of get it centered the way I want. Now I'm going to close it. I'm going to have my crease going in. Put my folder on top and crank. Okay. All right. Let me move this over for a moment. And then, so you have your image that you stamped. And when you open it, now you have an embossed feel to it. So it kind of gives you a little something extra. Hold on there. Oh goodness, it froze. Woo, thank you. Poor Donna's trying to message me through Facebook Messenger. Well, that's probably why there's so many less people on here now, which is crazy. But we have had some internet issues here lately. So thanks for coming back. Sorry about that. So what I did was I just ran this through with that embossing folder in case you missed it. I'm hoping that when it reloads for the replay, it should be okay. But then the other thing you could do if you wanted to is you could take your, and I'm just going to use this for now because I have it handy. Take my crumb cake, and I'm going to take this little makeup brush that I got, and I'm just going to go over the edges. Because what this is going to do is help to kind of highlight those ridges that you have in on that mat there. So you could do this with your sponge, with your dauber. There's so many different tools we have nowadays, which is pretty neat. When I do use this one, again, this one I got from the dollar store, I try to start off the paper so you have a softer feel to it. But it kind of gives you like that old, so this one looks like an old postcard. So that's pretty neat. So there's that. And just want to make sure you clean off these brushes when you're finished. Did you see? Yes. So I know it cut out, so I do apologize, anybody that's popping back on. I'm hoping that when I put this onto YouTube for the replay, it will, it'll reload fully. Let me show you what I did. So what I did was, I colored the stamp, stamped it onto a white panel, and then I ran it through, did I drop it already? I must have put it already. I ran this through the, oh, here it is, the Coastal Weave embossing folder. So that way it gives that coastal weave. So it's just a stamped image, and then we ran it through the embossing folder. So that's another way that you could use it. Okay, so it's kind of highlighted. So another very simple thing that you could do, let me just wipe this off so I can put it away. And I am sorry, I don't know why that cut out. I do apologize. Our internet, I guess, is acting a little squirrely. Okay, so another thing you could do, and this one's a little bit even simpler than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Timeless Tulips. As a matter of fact, I even have one of these to give away. So I am going to try to give away some stuff in the next few weeks. That way maybe you'll have something new to use to craft with. So I'm going to just cut, because we've made 4, I'm going to cut these other 4 pieces. Oh, that's got a black smudge on it. Oh, heavens, I must have put this near something inky. So I'm going to cut this again just in 3s. Just to give us some ideas. Okay, so we have that. So now what I'm going to do is stamp, and this does have a coordinating punch. I don't have it though. So I'm going to stamp this tulip. And please be careful. Oh, what's going on in there? There's a lot of banging. I'm going to stamp this tulip. I'm going to start in, let me go with something light. Blushing Bride. You know how it is that, you know, as a grown-up, it's pretty much quiet till you get on the phone. It's kind of what I'm experiencing here. All right, so we have a nice tulip. That's the base tulip. Then I'm going to pop on which one of these is, I haven't used this one enough to know. This is the leaf. For sure. But I think you can use one of these. It's kind of like your 3D. I'm going to actually do the same one again. I'm just going to be a little bit lighter with it. And I'm going to line this up again. I'm just going to kind of do a little bit. So I'm going to try to line this up exactly. And I'm going to kind of try to do like a rock and roll technique. Woo, that turned out ugly. Hold on. Let me just start over. Uh-oh. Well, let me check here.